literally crawled.
Well, Coach, I'm sure you'd never point to fatigue as an excuse, but what did you see in the second half from your guys that changed from the first half?
It really was neither half. First half, we weren't competitive tonight. We got off to a good start. I think some of the shots went down, but we didn't have the same competitive drive. I thought we had a couple good plays and a couple good moments in the first quarter, and you could feel it. I thought we should have been up 20 at the half. For them to be down 11 was our inability to really push, and that was just kind of a lack of competition that we needed in a game like this. You don't want a team like this to stick around, and this is the reason why.
There was a big emphasis points in the paint, keeping them out of the paint tonight. When you look at that area, how do you assess the job that you guys did?
Fair at best. I thought they do a really good job probing and on their penetration, finding late looks. JaVale really hurt us crashing, making some drop-offs, and their bigs in general were just effective around the basket. But, I thought we could have done a much better job of shrinking the floor, of applying a little bit more pressure on their cuts. They were hitting their bigs at the elbow, and they were just moving around, and we just didn't have the type of finish that we needed defensively.
And if you don't mind me asking, just really quick, any update on Kevin Huerter? We saw him leave the floor at one point.
No idea.
Thank you.
Sarah.
Lloyd, how much did turnovers hurt you guys tonight, and what were kind of the biggest reasons for the?
It's the lack of competition. In the same game, you get a 5-second back down and a half court violation. We didn't have we didn't really have any mojo. Those are two plays where we're just playing slow and doing things that are uncharacteristic. And I just thought, I don't know if that was fatigue. We were just out of sorts. And I just thought it was a quiet group. I thought for the first time, practice or non-practice, game or off the court, I thought that was the first time that we were a little disconnected or discombobulated. So it was just a weird day, weird feeling for guys out there. We never got the rhythm. Obviously, the shots weren't falling, the turnovers were high, and then they found life.
What did you see out of Clint Capella tonight?
Carry over. He's getting better every game. You're seeing his activity. 8 offensive rebounds is just pure effort, and that's a bright spot for him and his activity and him finding some rhythm in some areas that he can be effective. Getting to the free throw line, he didn't capitalize, but being able to get to the free throw line was his activity, a product of his activity. And we need that. We need him to be every bit of a guy that's effective around the basket on both ends of the floor, and we're seeing more and more of that from him.
Terrell Thomas.
Coach, this is the first time with your new group and the new roster that you guys had a back-to-back. How much do you feel like that back-to-back maybe played in part in the slow start in the second half? And what went into your decision to leave the reserves out in the second half for such a long time?
To leave them out?
Yeah, it seems like they got slightly more minutes once Cleveland went on a run. We saw Trae Young was on the bench during that time. Once the lead was down to about 4 points, we saw Trae get off the bench. Was there any reason why during that stretch the reserves were out on the floor?
It's the same rotation we've used in every game. They actually reduced it. I actually brought the starters back in the fourth quarter a little bit earlier. We had a somewhat of a lead. I think it was 11 when I took most of the starters out, and we didn't finish the third quarter well, and it ends up being a 4-point game. And it's really a 1-possession, 2-possession game early in the fourth. And I just thought if we could slowly, I think I subbed Bogey in first and ended up bringing Kevin pretty much after that. But it was really hard to think that if we just stayed the course when that end of the third quarter run really just evaporated for us. They took the lead, and they got into a point where they were climbing into our guys, and I wanted to get our starters back and see if we had one final push, and it just stayed a 1-possession game until they took the lead, and we didn't have any fight. But we've kind of kept a consistent rotation with when our second unit guys are coming in and when our starters are going out. And tonight it probably changed. Kevin ended up playing a lot more minutes. He was playing well before he rolled his ankle. And so I kept him out there with the starters just because I thought he was the guy that was playing well.
Thank you, Coach.
Greg Hurd.
Hey, Coach, through the first 4 games, Trey's averaged about 15 free throws a game. The last 2 games, he has combined 8. But with this game in particular, do you think there was anything with the Cavs' defensive effort, especially Dante Exum, that kind of kept him off the line?
You know, he normally knows how to create them. He didn't get many of those opportunities. We're guys, obviously, if you watch film, you start to learn how to defend a guy. And, you know, hopefully if you're disciplined and you're doing your defensive game plan, you can avoid being in those situations where you're fouling. And I thought they did a good job. JB had his guys ready to defend without fouling, and he's the main guy. He's been leading the league thus far, and they did a good job of keeping him off the free throw line.
Jacob Roth with CBS 46.
Hey, Lloyd, I guess this is kind of a bigger picture question, but, you know, such a great win last night, kind of a letdown game tonight. How hard is it not to read too much into one game this early in the season with, you know, small sample size numbers all over the place? Is that just something that comes with experience, or how do you manage that?
Which game are you reading into, the Brooklyn one or tonight?
I guess, you know, both. You know, I guess you can't get too high or too low. How do you avoid trying to take too much from just one up or down, one way or the other?
I don't. Every game you learn from, you try and correct your mistakes. I think I said it yesterday. You know, you don't celebrate much in this league, and we weren't going to celebrate Brooklyn knowing we had a 2-hour fight and got home at 3 and we had a game to play. We're not going to pout about losing to Cleveland. We're going to take a day off and we come back ready to go, and we got a game on Monday, and that's just how the flow is. I wasn't celebrating Brooklyn last night, and I won't be too angry about Cleveland tonight. It's a long season. We got to continually get better. You learn some things in a game like this. You learn some things in a game like last night, but you don't hang your hat. You got to keep moving forward. We've got a lot of work to do, and we've said that from start to finish, and we'll continue to say that.
Thank you.
2 more, Kelly Kroll.
Coach, when you say that, to piggyback on that, what do you want your guys to learn from tonight specifically?
Stay together. We mentality, stay together. You know, we need everybody. We need everybody to bring it, and we need everybody to support each other. It's really that. You know, you're in a back-to-back. You kind of assume some guys may be tired. It's no excuse, but it's just a reality. And you're hoping other guys. I thought BG came in again and gave us a hell of a spark in that second quarter. And you're going to need that in games like this. But that's really the testament of a team. We have to stay together. We have to be able to incorporate different guys at different times. And when you're struggling to score, or you're struggling to rebound, or you're struggling to do certain things, you need someone to come in and give you a spark. And BG did that tonight in the second quarter. We just didn't have enough of it from a lot of guys in the second half.
Final question from Terrell Thomas.
Coach, you mentioned a moment ago that you felt like tonight the guys just didn't have the mojo they've had early this season. Communication wasn't there. A quick start again, as you mentioned, Monday the Knicks will be in town. What was your message for your team this evening, and what will you be looking for? What will you be looking for out of your team on Monday when the Knicks are here?
We got a day off tomorrow to get some rest. It's been a long week. Just got back into town late this morning. Early this morning, however you say it, you know, and when we meet on Monday, we'll get prepared for New York. You know, we'll put this one to bed. That's all we talked about. We didn't really say anything about New York. I haven't seen New York. We'll put this one to bed and watch the film and be prepared for our game plan against New York and what we can do coming off a day off.
Thank you.
Thank you, Coach.
All right, thank you.